Earlier, someone said, "Oh, I need to train harder, or whatever," but it came out on top of your head, like the bubble. I'm like, wait, what are you saying? Like, what are
All
you
right,
talking about?
welcome to DoubleKORadio Live, guys. And David and I are going to talk about our impressions on the Djeeta trailer. And after
Yay!
that, we're going to talk about something that keeps kind of popping up on a lot of the videos that I've put out the last month or so, that I just kind of want to touch a little bit on myself, give my own kind of perspective, because usually stuff that's kind of negative that I don't feel like will lead into a good place on the internet.
It
Usually
has to be
when I
talk.
get comments like that where I just don't know if the conversation is going to go to a good place, I just kind of leave it alone. So, but I
Hmm.
figured we could have David and I can touch up on it in here because we pretty much share the Xeno Saga. We pretty much share the same opinion. Sorry, I could not. I try not to let the names bother me, but Xeno Saga,
That's right.
the inferior Xenogears, that's still kind of
People
distracting me.
love that shit. People love that shit.
Yeah. So anyway, hi David, how you
So
doing?
Vegeta, I'm okay, man. I'm, being home, being
Oh, hold
safe.
on. Flame DNA on the chat is saying, when is Djeeta releasing? And she's released next week on the 7th.
7 with Saurus. Woo woo.
Yeah, with
Um.
swords.
So yeah, I've been fine, man. Home, chilling with my dog, playing some
Yeah, you
games.
should be home. We're in the
Yeah.
epicenter of all the
All
stuff
the
in New
stuff
York.
happening. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah. So
So we
yeah.
got Digita trailer. How did it
What do we got?
happen?
Djeeta trailer.
It was like very early in the morning. I got
Yeah, it
some
was.
source.
It was funny too because I wasn't feeling well, so I should have not been awake for when you texted me.
You know why you wasn't feeling well? Because
Why?
you knew something was
Yeah,
in
the
the air.
universe kept me awake.
I was ready to go to bed, and it was really early in the morning. And I got some source. I was like, "Yo, this is true. Did you that trailer leak?" So I text you, I show you, and we saw it, and it flew glory, Um, and we got to see some of the glimpse of what she can do and what she cannot do, at least. And the most important thing is how she portrays herself. I think that was the most cool thing that I saw in that video. Her
Yeah, I mean,
personality was gonna sell it for me.
yeah, and it definitely shines through. And it's funny because this video just pretty much blows up the kind of content I've been putting out. Like they show her taunt, they show her how she looks like when she gets beat
Hmm.
up. They show both her supers. They show like all this stuff that I'm like, oh, I had plans to showcase these things.
Maybe they'll be looking at DoubleKORadio
Yeah,
videos.
hopefully, maybe they're like, hey, these people seem to like this kind of stuff. Let's just
Let's hire them.
show it before he gets a chance.
Yeah. So I think the thing how it starts the trailer right away was for me. Her personality is just booming in there, bro. Like so charismatic, so cheerful, like I'm gonna say like a cooler Sakura, right? Like no, Sakura is more upbeat and is very like a Shoto type of guy. She gives me that vibe, but cooler, right? Like she's still confident about her stuff, and she's there to do her own way. And then you see on Lyria interacting with her, hugging her from behind. Please ask permission if you do that before everyone. You
Flame
don't want
DNA,
bad
yeah, I'm
things.
gonna I'm gonna showcase it anyway. Flame DNA, thanks for the words of encouragement. Yeah, like are you gonna tell that backstory, David?
No, we're good.
No,
We
we
can
don't
go
need to
back.
know.
Just
We the people don't need to know
unwanted
about
hugs.
your hug from behind story.
No, unwanted hugs not
Yeah,
required.
just
Okay,
yeah,
ask
just make
permission,
yeah,
guys.
make sure
Always.
you have that rapport with your buddy or whoever it is before you hug him from behind.
Exactly. So I'm gonna assume Lyria is very buddy with Vegeta, and but no, jokes aside, she looks really fun. Her moves looks very how you call it, very agile, right? Like she's doing more things, very athletic, very jumpy and moving. And the first thing that shows up is her Dragon Ball, right? Her Dragon Ball. Her Dragon. Her Dragon Ball. Her Fireball. That she throws in the trailer that we saw. She throws the same Fireball as Gran. Everyone's like, oh, it's a clone. Blah blah blah. But Giuna JP on Twitter, he broke it down a couple of things, and he mentioned that as a show in the trailer that she can hold her Fireball and then throw it out, right? Like,
Yeah, she could
uh,
charge it. Yeah.
and then that counts as a hit if it's EX. So the holding in it will count as a hit and then throw it only if it's EX. If it's not, then it's just holding it and throwing it, which is cool. I think it's great for zoning. It's great for changing the tempo. I'm not sure if you can cancel that to super. If you can, that'll be super powerful. Think about like a fake up, right? Like you holding the fireball, you don't throw in, then you do super because on the punish.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like after she releases it, she does have time to just kind of apply pressure. So I would assume that that's what you meant. Like,
no,
okay, I got the hit off of the projectile I let loose. I can move, and I'm going to just throw a fucking random super.
But I don't think you can cancel move to supers in this game, right?
No, that's what I thought you meant, like, the thing had to hit first.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I think that's already a change, right? It's just not that much of a clone, just like a different variation, I would say.
Yeah.
She still has an invincible DP, shows in the trailer, but while she's doing the DP, we see my man Saurus showing off on her trailer doing the counter. Come on, bro. You know
what's funny, because they show the counter, but not as fully as they did on his. They're like, nah, let it loose, let it rip on the next one. Let it rip on the Djeeta's counter. We still have stuff to show.
She did the EXDP, and he's like, nope. Bam, 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 hit her. So awesome. Props to Saurus. Can't wait to play him. She did like an overhead hit, right? She did an overhead hit.
She did
an
kick?
Overhead kick. That heel kick is her special attack. Like how Gran holds his sword, that will be her heel kick. It does ground bounce. Not sure if it's a max level or it can be at certain levels also. I'm assuming it's at max level, right?
I think it's at max level, and I think it's gonna be better than Gran's. Because Gran's like wall bounces or whatever, but if you can ground bounce and combo off of it, you can just basically do that wherever, no matter where you're at in the stage.
Yeah. You don't need a corner.
Yeah.
She has her Rekka, type of Rekka, right? Like how Gran does with his boots. She's a two-part move that she hits you twice. I can't remember the second hit. She does like a horizontal slash. I can't remember the second
it's just a bunch of slashes. It looks more like Narmaya slashes when she's in the stance where her sword is
the
out.
3 hits. Oh, right. She does like a Berserker Barrage type of thing. Like,
with a sword,
and now we know that the EX has combo potential because in the trailer, she does that in the corner and then follows up with a couple of more hits, which is really cool.
Yeah, so far it's been like every character has some type of EX. Like that's where your big combos come from, right? Like the EX is the one, especially in the corner where you're like, okay, now they're in enough hits done where I can continue the combo and so forth. So
I think before I go to her super, I think that would be cool if they start trending stuff like that with the upcoming characters, Saurus and Zoe and everyone else, because he expands the game little by little in the things that you can do in the game. You know how this started? Oh, it's a very simple game. You cannot do much, and it's expanding. I can say it's expanded with the combos and the things people have been coming up. But if the character archetype already has that implemented, it will be even easier to keep expanding, and I think that will be more attractive visually for everyone, and also playstyle, right? I think that would be really cool. So I think the Djeeta is gonna definitely open up a little bit more of that fresh new take on Gran, but not only because it's just another Gran, but because it feels like it has more expandable combo material. I'm hoping, based on the ground kick or whatever.
Yeah. And with the mechanics she has, did you go over all of her moves yet?
Yeah, I did her fireball, I did her DP, I did her two-part hits, which is that like the Granblue, and then the overhead kick.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, like it feels like she's gonna be like just a little harder to use than Gran, right? But not. I don't think she'll be a difficult character. I just think there's more to her where you can apply some type of mind game on your opponent, because you can hold the fireball, you can stop them from zoning, you can choose to do a continued attack off a Rekka, you can choose more so utilize more so to have that heel kick. I don't know if it's overhead. I don't think it's overhead, but it looks like it should be. Like it just feels like there are certain things that she has that's just a little bit that'll make people have almost more diverse playstyles with her than with Gran.
So would
Grant's
you
character.
say, and this is just to take an intake, let's put Grant as Rio, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would she fit into a Ken or a Kuma archetype?
She's closer to Ken, but maybe even be as different as Sakura, like somewhere in the middle, like somewhere where I don't know. I think we'd have to see her play a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to see how people choose to play her, how her frame data is gonna make her change. Like, cause once people know the frame data, they'll go, okay, this is the move I can do 30 times in a match, and this is a move I can
Yeah.
do once or twice. Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Her hits looks crazy. Her jumping overheads look ridiculous. Her normals look super crazy. You know how
Yeah.
Grant has those weird hits, you can hit me, but I can hit you type of thing?
Yeah.
She seems to have those things, and they look awesome. Like, it looks cool, I just, we might, is it going to be as strong as him or not? We have to wait to see that. But
Yeah.
the fact that she has them already showing in the trailer is for a reason. Like, look, she can do this thing. She does a crazy, very deep cross-up. It looks like she flips into almost at the end of her jump and she hits you. It's kind of weird. I say that the reason I mentioned the analogy between Ken and Kuma is, yeah, Gran is too strong, right? And you mentioned that she might be more of a difficult player to play because she has other tools. And that would be the bigger gap, right? Ken is the same tools in a different approach. Sakura or Akuma, I definitely mentioned Akuma because Akuma has different tools with a different approach, right? Because, yeah, can you play Akuma as you play Ryu? Sure. But you're not going to exceed as that. So maybe that's the same aspect as her. Can you play her as Gran? Sure. But you're not going to exceed as Gran would unless you play Djeeta how Djeeta is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm reading too much, but that's how I take it.
It could be. Again, it's like whatever anybody says about like this type of topic, it's still up in the air regardless because we don't know yet, right? We gotta.
Someone knows out there.
Well, yeah, somebody. Well, I don't even know because some of the guys that make the games don't know how to play
They
so
don't
good,
even
right?
know. Yeah. Let's go to her super, right? To complete her.
Yeah.
She has that super that she showed in the trailer. Unrivaled 10 Powers, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
That's epic as fuck, bro. I hope someone they commented, she hit her with the unrivaled 10 powers, and people are counting 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be cool. You see all the weapons hitting, which is really cool. And we just find out, but we find out later on that it's like a input command super. Like, you have to do your certain button follow-ups in order to complete the whole combo. As an example, as in Geeshauer has a deadly rave, which is a move that he charges forward, and you do a combination of attacks, and at the end you do a motion to finish up the big blast. And in the Persona game, which was made by Arc System also, Narukami, which is the protagonist, he also had a secret super like that.
Yeah.
Pardon me. You have to do a secret sequence, and when you do it completely and you do a special move, he does like a blast, like a sword comes out of the Persona and hits him. So that's cool. That's unique. How many people do you think are going to do that online?
It should be. I'm pretty sure like they added that on there, but it should be simple enough. It should be simple.
What if you do easy target? If you do with the easy button, it does it for you. Just the blast.
I think it stops early on easy.
Correct. Like it just does the blast. Like boom.
Yeah, I think it stops early on easy. I think you have to do like the inputs to get it out.
I think that's worth it, right? Because for the damage, you have to do manually, right? That's cool.
Yeah, well, again, but that's another mechanic on her that's for slightly more skilled people.
Well, why would you do that? We could just play Grand. That's what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, like, it'll be for, slightly, like, you can just do super and get your damage, or you can get super and then have a sequence of buttons to do to get your damage too. That's just, you're going to need that much more skill to stay like what's it called, just kind of composed enough in a match, in a high stress match, to not mess that up.
Gotcha. But it's still hype, right? If you do it right.
Yeah, that's why it's gonna be more hype, because especially if it has like some kind of weird tight timing, then it's gonna be even more hype. You got all of them.
So that's really cool. The fact that that is her super, right? That's not even her super skybound. That's her super.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the tutorial explaining that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. So far, like you mentioned, like you're getting the moves from Giuna's Twitter. He mentioned that he's one of his pet peeves are like supers that take too long for competitive play.
Yeah.
And this could
Active,
potentially be
of
one
it.
of those. Yeah.
But then again, no, because if that is a super that is hitting you, it shouldn't take that long because it's actually hitting you. It's like a combo. I think he meant the animations of them. That would take long. And let's say she does like a build-up before she starts this thing. Like she summons all the swords and she talks to each of them and she tells you the lore of all of them. Then she hits you. Then she does the animation, hits you after. Then that might be a little bit long, like Lil Wayne, you know? And then we have her Super Skybound, which is like a version of Gran, right? Lyria fusing with Bahamut, Proto Bahamut, and she hitting you. What does she does at the end? I didn't remember.
I don't remember either. I think they
That's
probably
the
cut it.
Rasengan? I think that's the Rasengan, right?
Yeah, the Rasengan's the Rasengan's the weapons.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, go to the channel and watch it and let us know, please.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I don't remember.
When you can, just comment, you can do it. I can't remember, but anyway, it looks cool. It looks like her style.
Yeah, I think that is the Rasengan. I don't know. I don't know. That's just chopped up. It's all chopped up in my memory.
It was so early. So she looks good. I'm gonna be honest. She don't look like, wow, really? This character, she looks good for me.
Flame DNA says this is the 7-star sword once coveted by Sieti, the leader of the Eternal. So now we know the lore.
Now we know.
Yep. But overall, like, it's funny that you know, like, this is gonna be this. There's always some kind of conflict though with this kind of characters, because just because she was
Her clone?
she was like you know, just because she's technically who you start off with too, right? You either pick Gran or you pick her. A lot of people are saying. Wait, hold on.
I pick her.
I got aggro.
No, I pick her. So, and
you
I
look
made her
good.
a completely different character.
Does it fit okay?
Yes.
Okay, no, sorry. No, I was.
I know.
Vanessa's just so people know. Vanessa was making a handmade mask for
Gotcha.
Corona stuff.
So I pick her in the beginning instead of Gran, right?
Because you're somebody with a lot of time and money, you know, and you.
Oh my God.
Obviously, that's why you picked her, right? I thought that was why everybody picks her.
No. Do you think that she's gonna be overshadowed by the previous person?
What do you mean?
Source?
No. I think let me get back to what I was saying before I got interrupted. The internet has this thing where they're like upset that she wasn't in the base game because, and now they're even more upset that she's similar to Gran. That's what I wanted to know your take on before we get into that.
I think it's ridiculous, right? That people will complain about things that should and should not be there.
Yeah.
And obviously take this with a grain of salt, right? This is my opinion, but we don't know the back end things of why it's happening or how is it going. And it might look a certain way, it might not look a certain way. But the fact that they're still delivering that character to us is the end result. That's what matters, right? They could have not put her, and that's it. And that will be the end of the story. They could have not put her in, disregarding if she was free or not free, they could have still not put her. If we put our opinion and be like,
one thing could have been, hey, she's going to be too similar to Gran, let's just not put her.
Yeah, correct. That could be a thing. And if you want to look at things that could have been like that, let's not put her because of functionality. I know there's a dark place I'm going, but MVCI, they didn't want to, apparently, they didn't want to put certain characters because characters wasn't what was selling, was the action or the functionality of that character. An example, why put Magneto when you can have Nova do the same actions of flying and moving? And that became such a big controversial thing because that's not what people want. This character there are people attached to this character for a reason. Lore or anything. Doesn't matter what it is, but there is an attachment. Someone out there likes this character and would like to see this character represented in the game. Disregarding if it's free or not, that's a different topic. But the character's in the game. It couldn't not be in the game, you know? That's the worst case scenario. And I get it, you know, no one, even myself, I don't want to pay for stuff, obviously. But at least I see the bigger part that the character is in the game. I've seen so many other games character not being in the game and be like, oh man, I wish that character was in there, you know? And it's there. Look at Tekken. Tekken had characters that they were literally the copy, the echo fighters of another character. But they still put it. In Tekken 2, that's how they started. They were having echo fighters of the characters, and it has slightly variation, but it will still be there. Yeah, you didn't have to pay for that. That was an unlockable thing, but that was a different business thing back in the day. You know, they could have, once again, the thing that is common through all this, they could not have done it. They could have not done it and not have that character there. So, I know people are going to be salty. People are going to be upset that she should have been there. She should have been there? My answer to that is yes, as also the 500 other characters should have been there.
Yeah.
Where do you measure that? Where do you draw the line in there?
You can't.
You can't.
Because everybody's going to have their own opinion.
Oh, well.
Everybody has their own favorite character that they want. There's plenty of people going, there's no character for me. You know, because
like
there's so many characters that people can choose from in the original product of this franchise. So... Yeah,
and if you want to go like that, there's many spear people. Well, there are many sword people. There's too many in the game. There's so many of those same categories, but it's because the character itself is the one that makes it cooler or personal. You know. Yeah. So you're gonna tell me that we already had Grant, so technically we should have Zoe because she has a sword too.
Yeah.
Oh, she has a shield. Oh well, but she has a sword. Lancelot has 2 swords. So you know what? So his character is what sells. So. I think that the argument is a little bit exaggerated. I think people just need to understand that the outcome, the end result is better. Is the better outcome. We have a character.
There was a guy that I kind of tried to change his perspective. I hope it makes sense to him because he was like, I can't believe I got to pay for a clone character. And then what I'm thinking, like in my head, I'm like, well, here's the thing, like they're trying to make it diverse at first. So you're paying at first for a more diverse cast instead of having the clone in there, you know, like somebody else was going to get sacrificed for that clone character, right? That's and correct. then you have Djeeta. Well, now she's an option. And now if you see that she's a clone and you go, okay, well, she's too close to Gran, I have the option to not buy her.
Get her or not. That's true.
Yeah. You're mad about it? Don't buy her. If that's how they made her, don't buy her.
Instead of forcing you, dude, that's so true. Because like you mentioned, it could take that spot of your, let's say an example of your Narmaya or whatever, you know, in whatever it was, whatever roster that you like, whatever character in the roster that you like, that could have been Djeeta, right? Let's say they took La Diva out for Djeeta. I'd be like, but they already have Grand. They could have put La Diva. You know, it would have been the argument again all over.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Even Flame right now in the chat, he said the fact that Orchid isn't in there is a travesty. Where's my puppet user archetype? I think the puppet's actually going to be Belial. So and then he says, I'm surprised there's no Eternal representative. Yeah, there's like these things that get brought up, like Flame just brought up, everybody's going to have their own version of the same thing. Just put X out Orchid, X out any other person's name or thing, and plop in somebody else that somebody else has their own personal preference to. It's going to be an endless cycle.
But it's the beauty of this game. There's so much expectations because people want so much of it. Yeah. It's like a candy store, you know? And people just want it all. And believe me, we're in there with you. We want it all too. We want all these things. It's just we also have to take in consideration that they have an agenda how they're bringing this up, and they're making this game for everyone. It's not just for one person, right? Do I want eternal representation? Sure. Do I want more story expanded in this game? Absolutely. I want this RPG mode to expand. And with every other, at the end of the season or the start of the new season, expand the RPG, and that's how you introduce the new characters. That would be so cool, because you go to other islands and, but maybe they won't do that. And then I'm going to be like, well, they could expand the RPG modes, It doesn't matter, it's so much that people want from this game that let's just hang tight and stay for the ride and see where they're going to take us, We're in this ship here. Let's see where it's gonna take us.
I mean, we're in this ship that we're in this side game ship, and they like taking money. So we're gonna get more content. I have really high expectations with what they're gonna pump out to us, and we're gonna, as consumers, we're gonna be like, damn, I want that. And then that's it.
Quality content, bro.
It's in a good way, though. I'm saying this in a good way. Like, at least you're getting content. Like other games that have limited resources or smaller companies making like smaller budgeted products. They just don't have the resources to get all the fans what they want. Like any of like the hardcore fans of whatever series it would be, right?
It's crazy. The more you give, the more they get. They feel they need more. The less they have, the people will be like, okay, I'm okay with this. It's crazy. It's right. It's reverse. I'm definitely like you. Side Game is gonna continue publishing, supporting this game. Arc System has a heart for this game, as they show them with the dedication they put in every character.
Yeah.
We're already almost done with the DLC characters thing. How long this game's been out? For a couple of months.
Yeah, like depending on the region, like a month or 2 months. Barely.
That's insane, dude. Think about all that, dude. Active with trailers, with information, with weapon skins that you can get free from the game.
We're already getting a stage. We're already getting a new stage.
How long did it took for Dragon Ball to get a stage?
Yeah, and it's been like 2 years, and Dragon Ball is a property that has so many like nostalgic lore kind of stage, like iconic stages that they could put in that they just haven't. I don't know why. I don't know what the issue is with them, with like Toei or Shueisha or whatever, like with rights and all that stuff. But with that said, I don't want to talk about them that much longer.
But yeah, I get it. They have more, in a sense, they have more of a access for people being reminiscing of those places because of what the franchise is, than something, I'm going to say, quote-unquote, obscure like Granblue. That's why I say quote-unquote, because this thing is gigantic other places. Then people will be like, well, what is that stage, Like, whoa, I don't really know what that place is. So I know they're going to keep pumping with the right content, the right information, because they're being very communicative. I think Djeeta looks fantastic. Can't wait for Soros. I think it was a surprise that they confirmed that she was also going to be with Soros, that was the speculation. So it's all a matter of fact. I think Zoe, the latest, will be a week after. The latest, bro.
No, because her trailer's the 17th, right? So I think she's going to come out a week after that trailer.
Correct. A week. Yeah. Sorry. The week after that trailer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A week after her trailer. I think the same. She'll be ready, boom, ready to go, and maybe a teaser for like the season 2 after Belial, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Come on, man.
I mean, heck, maybe she'll be the first puppet character with her like dragons and stuff, and
maybe she has a dragon
and
meter.
Then Flame will have to be forced to buy her.
Yeah. Only the dragons throw flames. If not, then.
If the dragons throw flame, then Flame is in there, and if they're puppets.
That's so funny. But yeah, I'm excited, dude. I can't wait for the 7 can come any closer so I can play her for 3 days and then stop.
Oh yeah, because Final Fantasy's coming out. That's the lockdown. That's another lockdown. That's lockdown number 2.
Absolutely. But I'm excited. I want to see more. I want to see the weapons. I want to see everything. The colors.
Yeah.
I hope we don't have to buy more colors, but if we do, fuck it. Yeah,
it's what are you gonna do? It's more content, right? Oh, nice. It looks cool. The sun and the moon.
Flowers.
Yeah. All right, so
So yeah, I can't wait to see more of her, and the same. We'll definitely do like a little video or podcast of her, showing her a stream of her. Yeah. We can challenge you.
Yeah, I'll pick Soros. You pick her.
Nah. Not happening, sir.
Dude, monk characters are never that good. Why? I don't even know why you
Stop.
trying to
stop before you get the masses. I do want a different. To be honest, look, not to say anything. I did mention I wanted a monk in this game. I didn't say Sora specifically because it's a chibi girl. She's in the anime. She's like an Armaya status, same race and everything, but she's a monk. Super awesome, super thick with 2 C's.
Is the ogre girl?
She's not old. Well, she's serious. She's like a monk. She has red garb, and she's a monk. And she's Narmaya. She has like the horns like Narmaya.
I know who you mean. I just don't remember the name.
Me no, I don't remember the name.
I know exactly who you mean. Yeah, she's.
But when I mentioned a monk, you know, I was referring to her. But you know, I still think
you got someone way manlier.
Connor, yeah, absolutely. The man of men.
Zoe has the ability to use all kinds of weapons, from spears and guns after all, but her dragons are a very iconic part of her. Yeah, they could go all over the place with her then.
Yeah,
Zoe.
she's a Primo too, right?
Yeah, so, I can't wait for her trailer.
In the lore.
Fire Kicks Girl, right? David Fire Kicks Girl? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Does she have fire kicks when you play?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's amazing. If you know her name, please put it there because she's so good.
Dude, I know I can't remember her name. I recently saw her pop up
she'll be
somewhere,
because
like
I
somewhere
mentioned
randomly.
it multiple times, so FBI, you know.
All right, so now that we got
Djeeta
out of the way, second thing we want to talk about is the actual character amount themselves, because I've been getting a lot of just people focusing too much on that number. The number 11 or 12, however you want to say it, because it is like 11 and then you unlock Beelzebub and he makes 12.
Mm-hmm.
Because what people don't seem to get, because there's a lot of people going, oh, you're really going to pay $60 for 11 characters, and then I think they're used to fighting games being only the fighting game part of this, and they don't realize that there's a lot more single player stuff in the game that was put into this, and this is the first game, right? This is the first game of the franchise. This hasn't been done before, and that's one other thing that people aren't taking into consideration, is that this is the first starting point of the series. And if anybody that's played fighting games before, they remember the characters that are currently in the game, but do they remember or think about when that first game came out, how many characters were in it? And it's not going to be that much different than this, if you really think about it. I have some stats, but what do you think about this, David?
Right. Well, I'm you definitely turned the crank and let me go there, because you know how I feel about this shit.
I just took the leash off.
You did, bro. You did. Look, to be honest, keeping it real, a roster in a game, validating the price of a game should be based on the fun you're having with it. So if anyone asks me if they should spend $60 for this roster, I say yes. That's the first thing out of the way. Yes. Because why? Because I'm having fun with it. Now, it's up to you to find out if you will have fun with that, right? I cannot give you the value of your money. You need to give your value to the content that makes you happy or you like.
Yeah.
That's out of the way. But in terms of the norms, let's put it quote-unquote norms, people are saying that a bigger roster, a smaller roster in a fighting game, you did mention very interesting points. It's a new IP. We haven't got a new IP since I think maybe 3 years maybe, and they have been indie games, right? These are being indie games, like Power Rangers and
technically Dragon Ball, but all that stuff's like there's a lot of
What is the year Dragon Ball came out? 3 years, right?
Like 2 years, like 2.5 years now.
Okay, so I'm gonna see. That's the reason I mentioned around 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And around that time, a lot of more indie games came out more than actually well-known franchise, right? And other than Dragon Ball, all these other games had I would say a roster of 10, 12 people, 11 people, maybe 7 people, 8 people, right? Character roster. And people are complaining. People did not complain about those rosters because they were independent games. They were indie games. Maybe they're not as big as a big franchise. I think people start becoming a little bit greedier when they see a bigger franchise and they want every character in there, right? My personal opinion of not having all of them being there at the same time is better than having a gigantic roster. Hear me out. I think it's better to balance the game if you have a smaller roster. If you have a smaller roster, a healthy smaller roster of 12, 15 people, it's better to balance because there's characters that might not get forgotten or they're going to be more data about the characters that they play because people actually play them. You have characters in a game called Smash Brothers that have over 50-something characters, right? And not to say like that, but I'm going to be really honest. In tournament-wise, you always see the same characters. On online base, you almost see the same variety, right?
Yeah, you'd think the character roster was like 20 characters, basically. Yeah. But there's like 80-something characters in that game right now.
And you get surprised as when you see another character. Oh, that character! That's not healthy. In a smaller roster, everyone is going to be more familiar about what it does, what all the characters do. Everyone is more unified, right? Let's put it like that, because everyone knows about more or less the character. And that's where I lead into is easier to balance, because if they need to pump or nerf those characters, they already have more data to gather for those characters. Now, the same thing can be said about a bigger roster. Bigger roster brings more eyes into the game. It brings more attention. It looks more juicy. But I think it's kind of hollow, too, if you have such a bigger roster character, right? Because I think what makes the roster is not the quantity, is the quality of the character.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Got you. You can have so many characters, and it's funny as I say this. Once again, Smash Brothers, one of the best known games, they literally have a term for the characters called Echo Fighters.
Yeah.
Right? So, and people are willingly paying for these characters. Willingly.
Yeah. Because the number's high. The number's high, right?
Yeah, incredibly. The number is incredibly high, right? And once again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that it has to be consistent about the complaint about it. If you want to deliver a message to the people making these games, because you cannot say that, hey, you're tired of Echo Fighters, same characters. Oh, it's a copy of this character. When you have Smash Brothers being one of the most successful games and selling as it is and as popular as it is, because of course it has a franchise behind it.
And you know what's funny is, like, even the characters that are unique or not considered Echo Fighters, a lot of their movesets can always be compared to something else already in the game.
Yeah,
there's been plenty of times I've seen them like do breakdowns of the new characters. We're like, oh, first impressions or like reaction trailer to this, and they'd be like, oh, she's got this, oh, she's got that. Oh, this is kind of like this. This is kind of like that. It's not like super unique as well.
So I think one of the better versions of, still not a new IP, right? Because Granblue is still a new IP for fighting games. A new IP that I can say, not too new, sorry, an IP that did it better, transitioning to new characters, was Tekken 7, right? Tekken 7 has the familiar characters that play, like how you know for all your centuries, and then it had eliminated those characters like the Bruce and Oscar, and it had a complete new character in there, right? Mm-hmm. So technically it's not an echo or a copy because the other character is not there, right? So it's a replacement of that character. So that is a better way of me maybe putting it into the eye of the public so it doesn't feel too much of the same. So Tekken diverted from putting copy-paste of the characters and made a different version of the same character.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right? I think I'm in the right place because the characters in Tekken, they always used to... Eddie and Christy. They have some versions, but now they
Tiger.
Now they only have Eddie, right? Before, Eddie was the guest after that in a while. But so stuff like that. What is the girl that fights like Bruce? I forgot her name. But anyway, Josie, right? They don't have Bruce, and people complain, "Oh, there's no Bruce," but they have Josie, and Josie has her own personality, her own attacks. Still some similarity of Bruce. So it's a middle ground of the best way of keeping a clone to a new face. I think that's the best version you're gonna do. So what I'm coming with this is that the roster, to be honest, is not the issue. I think the issue is the quantity that they're delivering with these characters. These characters are well thought. These characters are bringing something to the game that there's a reason why they're there. Like Once again, MVC, Marvel vs. Capcom, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. How many characters did it have? A bunch of them. How many characters did we actually saw? 6.
But at least in that game, the characters were a lot more unique. It just needed a lot more developer support with balancing and stuff like that. Maybe like two big patches or something like within the next 2 years. But it didn't have the rights anymore to do that. But at least with that game, quality. The characters did feel different.
They did feel like. But then again, there was characters that didn't give you an incentive to play the other character. That's what I'm trying to go at. Like, the characters didn't carry their own weight to be like, well, why play that character?
Mm-hmm. Like in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is infamous for that. That community is infamous for doing that.
Correct. So that's where I go into the quantity part of this, right? You can have many characters, but if the characters are not strong in terms of like they bring something to the game that is actually good, then they're gonna be left in the shadow. And what is the point of having them? They're occupying developer space and time when you're just gonna keep using the same other character, right?
Yeah.
The reason of these DLCs or having starting with a small character rosters, maybe in my opinion, is to see where it's gauging where they can keep bending the curve, right? Bending the thing, and how far they can take it by bringing a different archetype of character. Like you mentioned, a puppet character. There's no puppet characters here. So if they would have started with a puppet character in the roster, fine. So if they bring another puppet character to DLC, then it doesn't feel fresh. Oh, that's another puppet character. So yeah. You can say that it's taking it away to then give it to you. Sure, you can think of that too. But then again, I feel nowadays the quality of games that we're getting are better, so we should just focus on the quantity of the characters that we're getting.
Yeah, because even back then, we for what this game offers per character, we weren't getting that a lot back then. We weren't getting animations that were this crazy. This game has a lot of voice acting within the game, like within different, like between the rounds, at the end of the rounds, at the beginning of the rounds, during story mode, when you're idle, like there's a lot of different aspects to the character that they're putting a lot of extra care to that in most fighting games we're just not used to seeing that.
Yeah, look at this, BlazBlue, cross-tag battle. How many characters are in that game? A bunch of them.
Yeah, a bunch. Now,
right?
Yeah,
does it feel the quality of this game? No.
No, because
not in graphics. Not talking about quality of the game. It doesn't. The story feels shitty as hell. Sorry for my English. It just doesn't feel well. This feels like a well verse of that, right? And if BlazBlue would have been close to something like this, that game would have been ridiculous. Yeah. Ridiculous. Cross-tag battle.
Yeah, because that was already like a fighting game player's focus, like fan base, like this is not from a fighting game fan base, so there's a lot of people that could get into it, and there's a lot of people that could buy it, but ultimately go back to the mobile game.
Yeah. So for roster, that definitely my take is I don't mind having a small roster as long as the quantity is good. Quality.
Yeah, the quality of each.
The quality is good. As in Power Rangers, look, I love that game. That Power Ranger game, every character plays 100% unique. 100%, completely unique. Does it look the best? No. Does it play the best? Maybe not, right? It has some good stuff in the game, but every character brings something to the table. Are there stronger other ones than others? Yes, absolutely. Are you unable to win with the other ones? Not so much, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what this game brings, at least in my sense. I think instead of looking at the number, play the game. Play the game and see if you're actually having fun with it. And I think you're gonna be seeing like you want more of it, and that's a good thing. Wanting more of the game is always a good thing. A bad thing is like when you're like, that's it,
Yeah. And with and smaller rosters too to start makes it easier for balancing and for developers ultimately to know when they're putting out a new character. Let's say like a year down the line, somebody has an idea for a character. Already they're going, all right, this is how this move's gonna work. This is not gonna work for this game, for how they play the game. This is gonna work. Like they have already some kind of idea on making the character when it's released be able to fit the style of gameplay better.
Yeah. And gathering the data from smaller rosters is easy, like I mentioned, than 30, 40, 50 characters, which eventually I think is going to get there. That intro picture, that every time that a trailer character comes up, it fills up, it reminisces so much of Smash Brothers, dude. So much that they can fill the whole sky with fucking characters.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah,
once
I mean, eventually it's gonna get to the point where there's gonna be Echo Fighters in this game, right? Because there's just so many.
Yeah. And people won't mind it because people love characters in this game.
No matter what. Oh, finally I get to play as so and so, but so and so kind of plays like this. Version. But so what? Because this is the character I've been waiting for. Now I could buy the game. You know, like they'll say stuff like that. Now I can.
I say buy it now, though. So get ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you stop me whenever you want to say something, but just so the people know, I ran down a bunch of statistics on the more popular games I could think of for fighting games on when they first started being something that existed, like their first ever release. So and then just giving you perspective, right? This has pretty much 12 characters. Let's see where all the big franchises started from. No matter what timeline or whatever, or time frame, whether it be the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, all that shit. I'm just picking the popular franchises and how they started, because this could be potentially another big franchise that continues making more time. Yo, you stood up, man. That messed me up.
I did. My controller moved.
Don't square up next to me, bro. We're on different tier lists. With your Lil Wayne avatar. Are you ready? Alright, so originally Soul Calibur used to be called Soul Edge, right?
Yes, so good.
And when it first came out, it came out with 12 characters.
And they had copy characters there.
Look at that. And then it took for Soul Calibur, when that came out, it had 9 more characters, but that's a whole year later, right?
And they're copy characters once again.
Yeah. Virtua Fighter for the arcade, when it came out in the arcade, it had 9 characters.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Dead or Alive in the arcade, it had 9 characters, and a year later 2 more were added in the PS for the PlayStation release. Nah,
bring it back. That's too much.
two whole new characters for the PlayStation release when it finally came out. Darkstalkers, the Night Warriors, 10 characters with 2 bosses that were not playable. Killer Instinct,
there, but they were not playable. Okay.
Killer Instinct,
12, right?
The game with the best audio soundtrack in fighting games of all time. Don't at us.
That's right. That's right.
Change my mind. We're on the desk right now. Me and David are both there on the desk. Change my mind. Killer Instinct, 10 characters and 1 unplayable boss.
Idol.
Yeah. Fatal Fury titled Fatal Fury: The King of Fighters, 3 characters with 8 non-playable characters, and in Fatal Fury 2 it went up to 8 playable characters with 4 bosses. So it kind of did the Street Fighter thing, you know, like it kind of did the Street Fighter thing the way it first came out. Yeah, same era. And again, it took a whole year for them to go up to 8 playable characters. So you're
telling me, I'll be like, yo, let's run some sets, and I can only pick 3 characters.
Yeah, you say, all right, who you picking? Joe? I hate when you pick Joe. Pick Andy.
Andy probably still looks the same way he looked in that.
I know, right? The original Samurai Showdown, 8 characters. Bloody Roar, if you know that game, 8 characters. Arcana Heart had 14 characters. Now that we're getting more into the anime realm, BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, 12 characters, and BlazBlue has a shit ton of characters now. Like,
you see, and I'm sorry to stop you there, right? At least 12 characters already. BlazBlue is already going to, let's put it like that, next generation console, because that was like PlayStation and Xbox, PlayStation 3 and Xbox, I guess around that time, Xbox 360. 12 characters, right? So that means Street Fighter already still has its franchise there, right?
Yeah.
all these games, and this new IP came up, 12 characters, but every character once again plays very unique, completely unique.
Yep. Guilty Gear, the original one, 13 characters.
Ooh, that's PlayStation. 13 characters.
Yep, 13 characters.
Justice was a favorite. That's fine.
Under Night in Birth, 11 characters. Persona 4 Arena. This is something that was one of those like, oh wait, they're making this into a fighting game. Cool. That had 10 characters.
Wow, how many characters are in that game, bro? In the game, hundreds. NPCs, enemies, you name it.
Yeah, they had 10 characters.
10 characters, dude! I don't remember that.
Now here's a game with a high character count the first time it came out.
Okay.
But there's something to that I want to add. That's
Marvel Superhero.
It's Marvel Superhero. I think also had like 12, 15 characters.
15,
like I think it was X-Men vs Street Fighter or some shit like that. But then again, I'm not counting. I forgot to say that I'm not counting team-based games because
solo games,
the point of them are to have a bunch of characters thrown in there. Injustice: Gods Among Us had 24 characters on release before the
24, and it's
24.
coming from a DC comic book material.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
But again, look,
beefy.
this comes from these guys potentially have had really bad working conditions. Remember, that got brought to light like a year or so ago.
The crunching.
That company was not good with being good to their employees when it came to how much they forced them to work.
Yeah.
Tekken, the original arcade release Tekken had 8 characters, and then 1 year later in the console release it had 10 extra characters. But a lot of those again were kind of on the cloney side.
Yeah. The 10 characters are the Echo ones, yeah.
Mortal Kombat, the OG, 7 characters.
Oh, 7? Okay.
Yeah, 7 characters. Then let's go. I'm gonna with Street Fighter. I'm gonna go with every time it revamped itself. So Street Fighter 1, everybody knows you could only pick Ryu or Ken. A year later, they came out with Street Fighter 2. It had 8 characters and 4 bosses that were not playable. And then a year after that, they had Championship Edition, and then they finally got up to 12 characters because the bosses were playable now. So Alpha, Street Fighter Alpha, when it changed up like how it looked all anime, like extra anime now. Had 11 characters, and 3 extra characters were secretly selectable. Like I think there was Akuma, Dan, and somebody else. I can't remember who else. So technically they had like 14. Street Fighter 3 New Generation had 11 characters that were available, and then for the console release, Gil was unlockable.
How many characters?
11. Street Fighter 3, 11.
Wait, okay, go ahead. I want to tell you something. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You could tell. Like you stop me whenever.
Where did it become? In what? This is generations, bro. You're going from generations.
Yeah.
And I get it,
they're not all wildly different numbers, right? They're more or less along the same line. That's what I wanted to point out to people, because everybody's going crazy over this number. I'm like, why are they going crazy over this number?
And the reason I want to emphasize in generations is, you know how many time has to happen in development of games and industry for them to still be consistent with the same number?
Yeah.
The industry goes up and down. Remember when fighting games was like the biggest thing ever?
Yeah, because of arcades.
And then it dropped to nothing, and it was like the wackest thing ever. The number's still the same. Think about it.
Yeah.
That didn't affect we only releasing 6 characters in this game. 6 characters. No, 6 characters. It doesn't. It went up to Mortal Kombat having 20-something characters, you know? That's super consistent, if you ask me, dude.
Yeah. And then Street Fighter 4, when we got the resurgence of fighting games again, Street Fighter 4, 12 characters, the first one.
Street Fighter 4, okay.
Yeah, Street Fighter 4.
Indestructible.
Yeah, that horrible song.
Yo, come on, bro.
Street Fighter 5 has 16 characters on release. But what did Street Fighter 5 lose? Everything else had shit netcode, had no one-player content whatsoever. and
Nothing.
and it has like pretty basic
It's bare bones.
gameplay for the cast and the fighting system itself. It took
yeah.
4 years for it, you know, for it to get to a place.
Quality instead of quantity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 16, that's a higher number, right? Those 4 characters messed up that whole game's release. Those 4 extra characters.
For Street Fighter, you said 16?
Yeah, 16. Street Fighter
Think
5.
about Street Fighter. Once again, I'm going to say it again. Street Fighter. One of the biggest name in fighting game. 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now, but finally, I just wanted to bring up the last one. The fighting game that has the most highest, like, characters in it right now. Whether you think about that community being a part of the FGC or not, it's still considered in the same realm of fighting game, and it's Smash Brothers. And now the first fighting game for the first Smash Brothers came out was probably like over 22 years ago, whatever. That shit had 8 characters. 8.
Yeah.
The OG had 8 characters.
Yep. Because they all carry so much weight, right?
That's they were definitely
different. They all carry
different.
so much weight. The Pokemon, the Samus, the Link, you know.
And by then there was also still that stigma of the Ryu and Ken. So even if there's Mario and Luigi, you're going, I mean, this is how fighting games are. You need the Ryu and the Ken.
You need the Ken. It's the Ken.
You need the Ryu and the Ken.
You're right.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. There's probably like, you know, so many more examples I could give, but these are the games that I thought of to really see
very
like
consistent.
Because I didn't even, you know, like some of these I don't remember, but there's something in my head that said this can't be new, you know, like this.
I didn't remember some of them were like 10 or 8, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking really about it, I'm like, yeah, they were like Killer Instinct. I didn't know it was that less to start with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Killer Instinct never was a big roster until the new generation of Killer Instinct that they had, but that was based on seasons.
Yeah.
You know, because the first Killer Instinct, when they remade it again, they didn't have that many characters either.
Yeah.
But those characters were so cool. But those characters were like cool because they all play different and unique.
Keep talking. I'll check right now.
Got you. All those characters play completely unique. They all have like a special, crazy shenanigans. All of them had this theme around them that you can do, and it portrays well with the character archetype. Like, you know, if it was a speedy character, if it was a monster character like Saberwolf or all that stuff, you can definitely feel that it was well composed, that whole character list. Yeah, and then the season 2, season 3, Hisako, which is the best, I love her. They start becoming and branching out a little bit more diverse. But I feel like the way they went about it was the same way as you've been mentioning. They went with a smaller roster, and then they start expanding little by little. I think, yeah, in order to bring a big powerhouse of bigger... What is a big roster anyway? What is a big roster now? 30 characters?
Yeah, like
you don't
in
need
the
30
30s.
characters.
In the
Why?
30s is
you don't
when
need 30 characters.
Is when people are happy, but people are still like, because they could be like, they could either be happy about it, or they could be upset about it. Because of like, if you're really hardcore into fighting games, you could be like, so many matchups I gotta know.
Nah, let me be super real with you. Super real.
Yeah.
If you have 30 characters in your game when you start, or close to more than 20, you're not gonna get an update in a long freaking time. You're not gonna get an update because what are they gonna put? They already put it in the game. So what are they gonna put into the game? It's gonna feel dull. You don't have another fresh new character to be like, that's the new thing. He's just gonna be there and that's it. I'm being super real.
Yeah.
Because you don't have nothing to look forward to. It's already there. You know? What am I gonna put in there? Nothing. Oh, balance changes. Okay, cool.
Alright, so season 1 of KI, the 2013 one, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, and one of them was Shadow Jago.
But wait, oh yes, because season 1 Shadow Jago, but you can only get Shadow Jago afterwards. It was afterwards that you can do like a pre-order thing.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned him.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, throughout the season, then basically it's like now it's like 3 times the amount of characters in the game.
Yeah, but for how many years that game was? You know, that game had a long time.
It takes a while. I think just people only remember where the game's.
But where did this came from? That it's a small roster. Where is a small roster, and what makes it a big? What makes it a healthy roster?
I don't know. I think the number, like diversity, has to supersede the number.
Yeah, because look, I could make a roster really simple. I make the Ryu character, the Kenny character, the Chun-Li character, the Grappler character, the charging character like Guile. I can make those archetypes and sit, and then just be that.
Yeah.
That's my game, you know. No, then you
no, but you could, and then you update it with like, all right, so we got the charge character, right? Now let's make like the reverse charge character.
Correct, the same moves, but he doesn't charge.
Yeah. You got the zoner with the projectiles, right? Like in this game, there's a zoner with projectiles, and there's a zoner with limbs.
Grab.
Yeah.
Yeah, a projectile with grabbing DP.
But yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. There's no convincing people on this topic, but I think it'll go away once it re-releases. Whenever this re-releases and it has everything in it, it'll go away and go. Oh,
really
okay.
Put the thing is, this game has a healthy amount of character based on the statistic of all the previous, even bigger IPs than this game.
Yeah.
That's facts. That's not even like opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so what that means to you, I cannot change it, but at least we can tell you that it's still around the same healthy amount of characters. And already going up, because they already mentioned Season 2, so.
Yeah. It's not like this is that, I can't remember which game it was, which one of the Versus series it was, but it was the one with the comedian, Naru something or whatever, like the guest comedian that came in. Remember him? Remember that game? It was like, I can't remember, Marvel Superheroes.
Oh, the one that is like the Kengan Asura employer?
Yeah.
Versus Street Fighter, yes.
Yeah, he's like, it was that, like, I would be upset if our roster was only the Street Fighter side, because the Street Fighter side was all Shotos. It was Ken, Ryu, Sakura,
Chun-Li,
Dan,
Chun-Li. Yeah, Chun-Li.
Akuma, and then it would be like Chun-Li, Zangief. And then that guest. But everybody else is just straight Shotos. All Shotos in the game. Like, what happened there?
Yeah.
Like this game is not that. Everybody's like plays really different. And even with the characters being so strong right now, like certain characters being strong enough that most of the community thinks that they could be toned down a little bit, there's still very diverse amount of people picking just still what they want to play.
First, and then you would think, yeah, you get it. They're always gonna gravitate to the stronger, like you mentioned. But you would think in a smaller roster, people will pick more of the same, right? And no, that's not the case. Yeah. I think the personality of the characters is what is bringing it up. Once again, I think that quality shit, quality stuff, I think is the one that is really bringing it up, man. Yeah. Because, if it's not, then you would just play that strong character.
And then some strong characters like are good entry level runs, right? And they just happen to be strong, and then people just stick with them, like Gran and Catalina. Like you go, just pick them. They're what you need to help you start off with, and then all of a sudden, this character is OD. All right, I guess I'm just choosing this character. You know?
Yep. I do have my 2 cents between Gran and Kata, but we're definitely gonna talk about when they have the whole roster complete. We're definitely gonna revisit that because I think they definitely purposely did something with Gran and Kata towards this game. You know.
I mean, we could bring that up because I think a balance patch is. Did I say balance? Balance patch?
A balance patch?
Balance patch. A balance patch is coming soon. I don't know if it's coming with Djeeta and this dude, or if it's coming with Zoe.
Zoe.
Okay, so if it's coming with Zoe, we got some time. But we could talk about the characters we play and what we think, how we think all the characters are right now, who needs to get toned down, who's fine where they are, and all that stuff.
I can't wait for Saurus, though.
Especially after we get an impression of Saurus and Djeeta and see pretty much
where
they're at.
Super biased.
Me too. I'm gonna say he's
super
broken.
Biased, bro.
I'm gonna say he's broken. Put it out in the ethos so they never buff that dude. I'll be like coefficient with Fairy. Like even if it's not as bad as the other ones, I'll still say she's the best character in the game.
That's fucking funny. Nah. Saurus voice. Yeah, I can't wait. So excited.
All right, so we good here, right? That's
I'm
topics
definitely
we good.
I definitely, you definitely hit some great points there.
Yeah.
I hope you guys share or understand some of points that we're trying to combat bit. But if not, then let us know.
Yeah, leave us any questions we could answer for you guys in the next podcast. If you leave it down in the comments below, and we'll shout you out in the beginning. We'll try and answer in the beginning if you guys do that. But right now, we're gonna end the show like we did last time. We gotta find the best name.
Oh,
gotta find the best name. All right, Metera, Step on Me, Boomer. Okay, I'm looking. We had some good ones earlier.
Ric Flair, WWE.
Ric Flair? No, dude. That nowadays kids, you know what Ric Flair's name is, right?
No, I don't. I don't know.
What's his daughter's name? Is it Charlotte?
Oh, Charlotte. No,
yeah,
it's
Charlotte. Hey, it's Charlotte Flair's dad. Wannalude Fairy.
God, what is that? I see him.
Yeah. Oh, we got that. We got that in one of the comments. Some dude was like, when you on your Rasengan comment.
Oh, he said Boruto's dad?
No, he said like, hey, Boruto doesn't have one of those. I said Boruto's dad does. I think my vote is the Lude Fairy one. Tokyo Tiba.
You got it. No,
or
you
this
got
dude.
it.
I know this guy kinda. He beats me up. I gotta look. There's 24 wins right here. We should message him, tell him that we're gonna end his win streak. Blood Bro over here. He kicked my ass in BB tag.
Hey, Blood. Oh, he looks like me.
Kenny Rowe, Teriyaki Soba. I don't know, dude. You pick one.
You won. No, you won because I was gonna pick the Ric Flair, but
yeah.
I'm gonna go with Ric Flair, bro. Come on.
All right, fine. Ric Flair, WWE, and he's the buff Vern, of course. He's way buffer than Ric Flair ever was, but that's fine.
It's so funny.
I still vote Wannalude Fairy. Let us know down below which guys you think was the better name. Thanks for listening. This has been DoubleKO Radio Podcast 37, and we'll be back next week.
Peace out.
Peace.